This week's episode of the Wild Card Podcast is brought to you by that historical crooner, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Yes, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, direct from his breakout performance in Annie. Here he is with his smash hit, Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, I love ya, tomorrow, you're only a day away.
But wait, that's not all. If you act now, you can also get FDR's renditions of your favorite 1980s hits, like I Ran from the Flock of Seagulls.
And I ran so far away, I ran from night to day.
Or Walking on Sunshine from Katrina and the Waves.
I'm walking on sunshine, and don't it feel good? Hey!
And who can forget his poignant reinterpretation of Whitney Houston's classic hit, I Want to Dance with Somebody.
Oh, I want to dance with somebody. I want to feel the heat with somebody. Yeah, I want to dance with somebody who loves me.
Act now, and we'll also throw in a Mr. Potato Head accessory kit and a year's supply of rainy day contraceptive sponges. Act now while supplies last.
Welcome to the Wild Card Podcast. I'm your host, Ron Blair, and my co-pilot on this journey to wherever are my good friends, Jeff Curtis.
Hello.
And Jared, I like my chicken like I like my women, mediocre and boneless, Eaton.
It's truth. That is
Absolutely
That is
true.
honest truth. I didn't advertise that, but man,
No.
you plumb the depths of the soul, Ron Blair.
I get to the core of
You
you.
get to,
I get to
you
the
get
core of
me.
you.
You get me.
I'm
Now,
so
You
glad I don't get nicknames.
You got boneless. You got boneless. You forgot skinless, though.
You like your women skinless too?
Yeah.
Skinless, boneless, and mediocre, like Lee's chicken.
Absolutely. They got skin on theirs.
Jared,
Right.
why don't you tell us what
Oh,
this
okay.
podcast is all about?
Well, this podcast is about self-adulation, self-congratulation, and self-flagellation.
Ain't
my
that the
favorite.
truth?
Yep.
My favorite.
Yeah.
Those things. That's what this podcast is all about.
Flagellation or flatulation?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Specifically,
Sometimes
though,
at the same time.
specifically, this podcast is about the 50th episode of the Wild Card Podcast.
The 50th episode,
It's
ladies
about
and gentlemen.
Happy birthday.
Well, something.
We already
something
celebrated
like
the year
that.
anniversary. We celebrated the year anniversary a while back.
Today is just our milestone, a very huge milestone.
Yeah, huge.
Where we have our good friend Jake Richardson in here
Hi, everybody.
To celebrate.
to celebrate and host the episode.
They made me take my party hat off, but
And his pants off. Both
have-
those things had to
Well,
happen.
you can't podcast and wear pants at the
I've
same
always
time.
said that.
Fun
Always
little
said.
fact. Speaking of flatulence,
What?
yesterday we had Little Caesars Pizza. In
Okay.
between shows, we did a 2-show
we
Saturday,
did.
which is always arduous yet fun. For some reason, there's something charming about it. I held in a fart
disagree.
during the entire second act of Annie, and I killed it. I was great.
Well, that's what you need to do for every show. Then is have farts that you're holding in. It clenches you up so that you are
They're tight. You're
pushing
tight.
that energy out the way it's supposed to be.
say, it was
Here's a
a
big
big all the
secret.
tension.
Most shows,
The adrenaline.
I'm holding in a fart. Most shows.
It's so unlike you to hold anything back.
I know. I just don't want to be the guy that farted on stage.
Loudly.
Loudly, right. I can do it softly if I feel there's no danger of noise escaping.
Dancing with Lindy. And here it comes.
Oh, what a beautiful scene. Oh, okay.
Frank,
well,
when
he
I
did
meet
what he
your-
does.
Oh, he turned her hair yellow.
Look, they're waltzing through that fart cloud. Isn't that lovely?
Crop dusted. He crop
Maybe the
dusted
sun.
everybody.
Maybe the sun won't come out tomorrow.
There was a point.
This smog.
There was a point. The first show that I sort of co-directed that I had any sort of power in was one of the Halloween shows. And I crop dusted the backstage on
Right.
that one because I'm the boss.
Well, if anyone out there is wondering how to do 50 episodes of a podcast, fart jokes. That's
Fart jokes. That's how you make it?
That'll take it.
Yeah.
Take it anywhere you
Yeah,
wanna
it'll
go.
take you 50 episodes and beyond. Beyond. Jared has the whooping cough.
I've coughed a couple times.
You have
this week.
pertussis.
So my voice is not the strongest.
Last week, Jared was wanting to sleep throughout the whole thing. This time, he
true.
wants to cough throughout the whole thing.
It's true.
You're a semblance of good health, sir.
Absolutely. That's what they always say about me.
Well, as you know, we always like to have our favorite questions for our podcast listeners.
Yes.
Absolutely we do.
And so for this week's favorite question, we are going to have some favorite questions about previous 49 episodes that we have done.
Self-adulation,
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Self-adulation. I love it.
So, what has been your favorite commercials?
Oh man,
That is a tough
I mean, we had an argument. You and I had an argument about it.
Yeah.
On a commercial.
But beyond debate,
Yeah.
which ones have you enjoyed the most?
God dang, there's so many good ones. I like the Friday the 13th commercial.
Where we
That
all
was
sort
good.
of
where
dying off,
everybody died.
and you're welcoming death.
Right.
And Death doesn't want you.
Right. Death doesn't want any part of me.
Passes right on by that one.
Tainted
God,
goods.
what else do we got?
I like. We had the 2-part episode. We did
Oh,
second
the
commercial.
alive.
Yeah.
That remember this?
The second Alive commercial was so
Ron and
damn funny.
I just started making up facts about what
Yes.
Jeff had
Yeah,
said.
that
Show
one
how
was
much we were
good.
paying
Yeah,
attention.
good times.
I
good
like the
times.
contraceptive sponge one. I like the cunnilingus one. I thought that one was funny.
That was
The code green.
Yeah,
Well,
the code green.
I think the Women's Day is where we
Oh, that
started
one's
hitting
so
our
much fun,
stride.
yeah.
There were the ones before that where we were kind of trying it out, but that one kind of became a new thing. That it
Yeah.
showed what we could do with the commercial,
Well,
and it became
yeah,
more
kinda solidified
skit-like.
Kind of before
yeah.
that time, what had always happened is I just kind of came and said, "Hey, here's the commercial today."
Right.
And I'm like, here's what we're gonna. I mean, I'll say this, you can say that, you say this, and we'll go through it. And then we came up to the point where Ron started writing them. Like I would come up with Ron would put pencil to paper, and we'd actually like plot some stuff out.
Yeah.
Instead of me
Yeah.
just be like, we'll make this one about Men in Black, whatever.
Yeah, they kind of became sketches
Yeah.
whenever I would write them out
Started
like
building
that.
them out, and then
we'd all.
you'd put it in front of us. We'd start editing it and tweaking it until we got the commercial.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest. Like I'm a little biased. I liked last week's a bit.
Yeah.
Because I was making you guys laugh because you guys didn't know it was the secret.
Oh,
messages.
that one was
That
so
was
damn
good.
funny. The Gabby.
Yep.
Scissors.
Double slippery.
Double slippery. I feel like the last 5 commercials we've done is
Oh,
there.
they've
I
all
love
been
Mr.
real.
Potato Head. I thought that was awesome.
That one was
And
fantastic.
Jeff,
Yeah,
the music
film
you
was
put in
fun.
some of these. I mean, we didn't say the Schoolhouse Rock one.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh,
the
my
Schoolhouse
God!
Rock one's
Yes,
probably
that
my
was
favorite.
brilliant.
All
It
the
was
music.
absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely one of my
and
favorite
Kittens
ones.
and Rainbows and
Yeah,
Butterflies.
Rainbows
that
and Kittens and
that was
Butterflies,
brilliant.
I'm a bit biased towards
That
one
Of course
in
you are.
particular,
Of
but
course you
I
are.
enjoyed that one because it made me like an idiot because I was arguing with Emily.
For those
Which is something no one should
not
ever
in the
do.
know, our Harry Potter presenter Emily
Yeah.
is Jake's soulmate, life mate, and gentleman lover.
What?
So
Wait, hold
was
on.
that incorrect? Did I say something wrong?
something
I don't
to do
know.
with
I
I don't
think
know.
something with the lip.
It was a little miss.
I think
don't
you got
know.
us backwards or something.
That
I don't
could
know. I don't know.
I do that sometimes.
Jeff, you made an episode that was all the commercials we had done up to a certain point.
Yeah.
God, I love that.
was really-
I
really fun.
listened to that one.
It was
I've
really
listened
fun.
to that one more than I listened to any one actual
Yeah.
episode.
There are times when I'll go back, since everything's on my computer, I'll
Yeah.
just go back and I'll listen to the commercials in like backwards order from what we
Right.
had done.
It's so much fun.
It is fun.
I would one of these days, if you ever get a free moment, I really want to hear some of our best sound clips,
Well,
our best moments. That's a ton
That's
of work.
that's more than
That's
a few
huge
moments.
work.
That's
That is a lot to sift through.
with
That's a hell of a
50
lot of work.
episodes. We're talking like a week.
Yeah, oh yeah, at least I
Or
think
2
at
weeks.
least a week, yeah.
2 straight days of listening if you did nothing else.
Right, and just noting where these great moments are.
Yeah, that's. You're,
But if
that
you,
will be
the
waiting for a
deckheads,
while.
Oh, yeah, I
if
imagine.
you, the deckheads, have moments you like from certain episodes, you could let us know when they are, and we could try to use those.
I would love to know what moments really struck with the audiences and what they really loved.
Yeah. One of my favorite commercials, though, was the one that we did after the Winchester House, where
Oh.
What was
I
that one?
was
Remind
making
me.
fun of the
where he was making
when you
fun of the
wander around
podcaster
for an hour and 50
for an
minutes.
hour.
Oh yes.
No idea where you're going.
Equating the Winchester House to our
worst
podcast.
Which is
No.
accurate. It's totally accurate.
These idiots.
With these idiots running around.
Hey, I think he's talking about us.
Oh, we have fun.
And then there's the favorite questions. Do you have a favorite
Which-
questions that you like
Actually,
answering?
we didn't officially begin the favorite segment until episode 2.
Right.
And in episode 1, we still asked like favorite fried chicken.
It was
didn't
pretty
really
much a
apply to
favorite
Jeff as much,
episode.
but,
what
we
it
talked
was.
about it.
Yeah.
But in episode 2, I asked you at the beginning of the podcast who your favorite conquerors were.
Yeah, I remember
No.
that.
No, I didn't warn you what was coming.
No,
we
you
had a
just
conversation about it.
But
You never do.
I don't think people realize that either. That we often surprise one another with what we're going to do or
Yeah.
say. Or there are many times with when Jared asked me what the podcast is about. That's
I've never known that at the time.
that's never rehearsed.
Nope.
Yeah.
I think the closest we've come to that is when I told him during the time loop,
Yeah.
just repeat the question.
Yeah.
And that's all I said. And then he bamboozled us at the beginning with Gabby.
Well,
Well, and there was one time.
there was the one time when
in
we
the
weren't
intro,
prepared.
That's true. There was one time when
And I seemed the least prepared.
There was one time when I told them the previous episode, I'm like, all right, next episode, I'm going to ask you who your favorite president was, and we can't use any well-known ones.
Right.
So
Grover Cleveland.
We all did.
Grover Cleveland.
The funny thing was, didn't we all choose Ohio Republic?
Yeah, we did.
Ohio Republicans, all three of us, which is so weird for us.
Yeah, we all were debating the greatest Ohio Republican apparently.
But I love what Moira said.
She came to me and said, I believed you and Jeff, but I didn't believe that Ron just knew that off the top of his head. I love that she believed you and I just knew that. It made me feel special.
I think she knows me well enough to doubt me.
That's fair.
Always.
That's fair.
As well she should.
As
I
well
love,
she should.
I don't know, I
I've given
love,
her plenty of reason.
we've gone over favorites from musical theater, which I always
Yeah.
enjoy. We've gone over favorites from food, favorites from like our past. There was a couple in a row where I was like, "What's your favorite thing you've ever seen? Your favorite place you've ever been?
your favorite site.
favorite accomplishments?" But I think
Favorite vacation or
my
whatever.
favorite, just because it was so, I think it was so fun for me, and not just in a selfish way, was when I asked your favorite performances by the other two guys.
I like that. I really like that too. That's
to kinda
I
talk
think everybody
through.
needs a little validation
Yeah.
sometimes, and
Yeah,
that was really nice.
Strength. So I really liked that one.
Yeah.
And then, what do you guys think was the best topic, or what are some of your favorite topics that we've had?
I think Alive was
That's pretty special.
yeah, that one's up there.
Roy Harley.
That was really up there. Roy Harley, Roy mother freaking Harley.
Roy Harley
Well, I'll
never
tell you this. I'll
apologized.
tell you this, Jeff. My
He's Roy Harley.
I talk to my mother every Sunday morning,
Yeah.
and I called her. And after I mentioned something to her a couple weeks ago, my stepfather's now reading the Killers of the Blood.
Oh, the Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Osage County. He's reading that book,
Cool.
so that was a good one. I there's a lot because Ron, yours are so much more. I don't want to say off topic. because
They're a
that's
little
not true.
random. They're a little random.
I really like the Sonny Bean one. That was a fun one.
Yeah.
That one was fun. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed Alive. I love the breadfruit.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the
Karen
swash-
Island.
The
Swashbuckles.
swashbuckles. I think that's a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, that was really the one where I kind of started the story.
Here's what a Jeffisode is.
Right. And I like the H.H. Holmes one a lot, despite
As a
my
live
being in
show.
a horrible mood.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of the history ones.
Yeah.
Like the mutant.
But the funny thing is, my
Right.
favorite
the Hitler
Jeffisode.
conspiracy.
Oh, that was good too.
I love that
was
one.
A couple of different Hitler ones or Nazi ones. When we came back from our first break, that kind of between seasons or whatever
Yeah.
crap
Right.
we made it out to be.
Right.
I think it may have been the first episode we came back was Jeff's telling a story one.
Yeah, the
Where we
more
were
activist.
putting
Yeah.
together an idea. We were building characters and a backstory and asking
is
philosophical
lovely.
questions.
You know what's
I really
shocking is I've heard so many people say the Ultimate Challenges are like their favorite.
Oh, they're
episodes.
They actually are a lot of
because
fun to
you put
listen
in
to.
so much
They-
Well, they're
they-
fun to do.
you
I
put in
think
so
they're
much
fun to
work.
do. Oh, I did both of those episodes. I put a ton of
Yeah.
work into
Yeah.
trying to create that game show format.
Yeah, I can see why people would enjoy those. It's-
Yeah, I dig hosting
Well,
them.
it's-
I have a good time.
Well,
I want to
Jeff-
play. I
Needs
can't
more
wait to play.
Plinko.
Jeff and I do
More
to
Plinko.
you what you and I always do, Jeff. You're asking questions, and Jeff and I are just insulting all the questions and
Right.
insulting the scoring and saying no one's ever gonna like this.
And people love it. And they're great questions. I found some awesome questions.
I love the Ultimate Challenge.
See, Jake loves
of
it.
course.
The listeners love it.
I
You guys
answer
just
the
hate it
questions
because you're
at
being
home.
challenged. That's what it
Well,
is.
Okay, I just
Yeah.
remembered something that we forgot to mention earlier about the commercials. Any commercial where something gets slapped to death.
Holy crap!
Like the first
Holy
time
crap!
when
the slapping.
Drake was the new Ron.
Yes, yes. Did you just slap a man to death?
I don't know,
Yes.
maybe.
And the werewolf one, where you
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
fight the werewolf. I love that one.
We never acknowledged that it was a
You
werewolf.
did.
Oh, that's right. It was
Yes, you
just a
did.
creature.
You accidentally
we
said the
acknowledge that?
episode.
I love any commercial where
Or
we make
shotgun
Jeff
to
work
butterflies.
really hard with putting sound
Yes.
effects.
Here's the
and,
commercial.
stuff
Now,
like
Jeff,
that.
make it sound right.
Yeah, now Jeff, put a little drippy cave
Yeah.
in there and add some, if you could compose
Yeah.
some music right here in the next 3
I
seconds,
love
that'd be
the
great too.
Drippy Cave thing coming back from, what was it?
The second week, 'cause it was
Oh,
second
it
episode
was
order.
those things.
Those things, yeah.
Those things.
And so we had the Drippy Cave, and then we did it again. It's like, why are we in a cave?
And the time loop. The
And we got
time loop
louder
commercial.
and higher pitch.
Yes,
and more desperate.
yes.
And then I
Oh,
love
man.
I love the Bob Ross and Mr. Rogers episode.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's,
that one was
that was
lovely.
fun.
That's
to put
one of my
together.
favorites.
That was fun to
Really
put together.
I got a soft spot in my heart for
Yeah.
both those guys.
I like the ones where we fix things. I like Jared's Let's
Oh,
Fix the
Education and criminal
education
justice.
The
system.
criminal justice system was
Yeah, that was
really,
one
Yeah,
of my
that
really
one
good.
was that was
Very-
impassioned.
Yeah, we were supposed to do 2 episodes that day, but after we got done with that, we're like, well, we spent.
I think we're
No,
done.
in like an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
It was 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And it was super like I was super invested the whole time listening to it. 'Cause I'm like,
That's
man.
that's something fun. We each all of the 3 of us kind of have our own default but we all kind of find our own little specialized things too.
Right.
So Ron's default is usually more discussion, something he's done before, an experience you've had, and kind of that we share.
Right.
Like the directing or horror.
Right.
Jeff's are usually more history, but sometimes he'll branch into the what ifs.
Yeah.
Which are really fun. And then mine's usually a report on something as ridiculous as like Donkey Kong or KFC.
Oh, I love Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong.
My favorite, probably my episode was the Dial of Pass.
Yes,
we
that
really
was
had
an
fun with
excellent
that
episode.
one because it was a mystery as well.
I like
The movie face-off question.
We all three have this proclivity for going dark. We all have these dark topics, these dark interests.
Zodiac that I did last time.
Oh, Zodiac was
It gave
fun.
me the creeps while I was putting it together.
Well, the reason there's conflict in stories and there's conflict in songs and stuff like that is that sells because people get invested and they want to see how the conflict is resolved, and so it makes sense that the darker stories we would go to those because those have more conflict in them.
Right.
The Bob Ross and Mr. Rogers episode was a great episode, but it didn't have the kinds of conflict. But I mean, it was still a great. But that's why we don't go to those things as frequently. I don't think we deliberately say, "Oh, well, let's go dark."
Yeah.
Right.
It's that this is interesting because the conflict in it is something we want to resolve.
It's so other. But you can also show that, like the Ernest Shackleton one.
Yeah.
How there's conflict in that, but how many people died?
Well, no one.
No one died.
Nobody died, but there was a ton of
Well, that was
suspense with that one.
That was one of the things I loved about the story was they were in this situation where you would expect like half of them to die.
Yeah.
But Shackleton got them out of there alive. They endured so much, but he got them all out alive. And you got to give a lot of credit to Shackleton for holding them together.
Yeah. I totally would because I'm a big fan of the Falcon Scott story, and he did not.
Right.
And I don't know that you can put all the blame on Falcon Scott for what happened with that one. It was just a bad series of events.
Part of it is the choices you make and what you put as your priority. And if your priority is reaching your goal regardless of the cost, then that's what happens.
Right.
Shackleton wanted to reach the South Pole, but it wasn't worth the cost of the lives of his men.
Right.
The lives of the people with him was his ultimate, he felt was his ultimate responsibility, and he acted that way. And because he did, he got everyone back.
Well, I love there's a moment in the play Terra Nova, and I would think this actually happened in real life, where Amundsen said where Falcon Scott failed is he was too civilized and too British to eat his own dogs when it came down to it. And that Amundsen would have done anything to keep his men alive, including eating the dogs.
Oh yeah, Shackleton ate the dogs.
Yeah. Scott looked at him as part of the team and these noble creatures, and Amundsen said, "That's why you died. You were too civilized. You were too British to survive."
Well, speaking of being too civilized and too British to survive, our guest host today is Jake Richardson.
Yay, Jake!
I don't know about too
He's
British.
our second guest host and our third guest on the
Third
Wild
guest,
Card
if you don't count
podcast. If you don't count
who's in the
Mackenzie,
studio.
who's always here.
Right.
So
Over there reading Harry
Watching,
Potter
waiting,
as we
plotting
speak.
silently.
Son had a moment on here as well.
He always asks me, he's like, "Mackenzie got to be on the show. When do I get to be on the show?" And there you go, buddy.
Yeah.
He was on the show.
So, Jake, what have you brought for us to criticize and tear apart or make you feel stupid about?
Well,
It's going to happen.
and I was prepared
best.
for it, which is why I only chose my favorite historical event.
All right.
to present.
Let's demean
So
it.
I'm gonna do my best Jeff Curtis impression today and bring about a historical bit of information. Now,
Excellent.
are we all aware of the definition of defenestration?
To throw
I'm
someone out
not.
a window.
To throw someone out of a window.
Really? I've never even heard the
Defenestration.
word.
Yes.
I've read the word, and then I would just gloss past it like I do most Michael Crichton books.
Fenetra is French for window.
Yeah.
Oh.
I did not know that.
Oh.
So, in Prague, on not one but two occasions, there have been famous defenestrations.
Famous defenestration.
Famous defenestration.
I have actually heard this story before. Yeah.
Perfect.
I will say that Mama Rose, who the show Gypsy is based on, in real life threw her landlord out of a window.
Did she?
She murdered at least two people. She was suspected of murdering at least two people.
Well,
She's not a good woman.
We've all been
Well,
there.
she doesn't seem
We've all
like a
been
good
there.
woman in the...
No, even in the
show.
play, she doesn't appear to be a very good person, does she?
No. I wouldn't want her to be my mama.
Oh, good Lord, no. Throwing your landlord out the window, forcing her to be on stage. She's like No, I almost said something tasteless there. Never mind, I stopped myself.
You something tasteless?
I know.
I can't imagine.
He is managing to eat while he's talking.
Usually.
I always manage to eat while I'm talking.
Yeah.
I have an enormous mouth.
At least it's not ice at the moment.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
He's got
Well,
a
my
my
tea's
back there.
running out.
Once his tea runs out,
Yep.
it'll be ice time.
It'll be
It's crunchy time.
So I have quite a bit of information here, maybe more than I need.
That's okay.
But-
It's always better to have more than
mean,
you need.
Absolutely.
My Zodiac report was like 22 pages long,
Yeah.
so don't feel
Oh.
bad.
My last report.
I have 4.
Yeah, his was.
Oh,
My last report was 23 pages long.
Well, maybe not then.
We're going to be fine.
If
be
we
fine,
stop
Mike.
at 45 minutes, I'm
You're good.
sorry. So before we jump into the first defenestration of Prague, we have to get a little background on a man named John Huss.
John Huss.
Didn't you go to college
Yeah,
with John
I
Huss? Didn't you
recall.
share?
Yeah.
We didn't. He wasn't my roommate, but we
okay.
shared a bathroom. There was like a conjoining bathroom, and he like had the other dorm.
Okay.
And
Now, did you actually share the bathroom?
well, I'm
Was
not
this
going to tell
something-
Was this
stories out of
before or after you
school.
threw him out the window?
Yeah. The thing is, I didn't throw him out the window. However, he lost 3 roommates.
Oh, really?
By,
Well, my guess is he probably overheard
being
you
friends.
talking about these things, and it
That's
planted the
most likely.
seed.
That's
He's
most
like,
likely. Well, when I was in college, I used to watch a lot of videos of people being thrown out of windows just for laughs and giggles.
I get it.
And that's
Just
probably
for
where he
fun.
got the idea.
Laughs and
Yeah.
Just for fun.
Yeah,
As one does.
this predated Jackass when I was in college.
You
so
got to
that
realize,
was-
Jake, if you actually want to continue with your report, you got to break your
Oh, you
toe
can't
in.
be polite, Jake. You can't You
I'm
can't
sorry, it's-
stop every time we open our mouths.
It's the too British, I think.
You can't be too British.
I was wondering where that tea came from that you have. You just pulled it out of your shirt. He just has a little
a
saucer
little
of
tea with the
Yeah.
saucer and
Tea and
the.
strumpets.
Strumpets?
I should
Yeah,
be.
tea and strumpets.
I should be quite
Don't
polite
question
when
that.
doing my.
I won't.
It was a
Prague.
Dumb and Dumber
I've heard
reference.
Prague is a
Gotcha.
hell of a town too. I've heard it's a great party town.
Well,
It's Prague,
Parties
South
and
Africa,
dinners.
right? That's where Prague is.
Yeah, Prague, South Africa. It's in
Or is
Belgium, right?
or
Is it in Belgium?
Zimbabwe?
Is it in Belgium?
Zimbabwe?
Am I going to be right?
Thailand?
Jake, how
and
many-
I'm immediately frightened.
Yeah.
If you all need me, I'll be upstairs.
This is a very difficult show to be on.
Prague
So-
is the capital of the Czech Republic.
Yes, that's
Czech
bad.
Republic. Okay.
Whenever,
Yes.
whenever you roomed with John Huss
Yes.
in college, did he attempt to reform your bathroom in any way, shape, or form?
By reformed, you mean did he leave fluids in that bathroom and not clean them up?
We try to save your soul.
He did. Oh.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
No, nobody
I
has
was saying,
ever tried. No.
That was a not so beautiful segue into the fact that John Huss is considered the first church reformer, predating Martin Luther.
predating Martin Luther.
predating
Okay,
Martin
what
Luther.
year are we talking here?
Well, he was born in. This is going to be the amazing episode where I mispronounce every Czech name
Welcome
I
to
can.
every episode.
Oh yeah, every episode ever.
Born in Husinec, Bohemia, in
Oh, Husinec.
in 1369.
The secret to pronouncing is to sound like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Husinec.
There you
Yeah.
go.
There you go.
None of our listeners know how to pronounce it either, so
Cool.
you're going to be fine.
Moira does.
Yeah, I forgot. Moira's our smart listener.
I'm sorry.
She's
Moira.
our Bohemian.
Sorry, other listeners.
Excuse me, all of our listeners are smart.
That's right, just not as smart as Moira.
At an early age, Mr. Huss
Nobody is.
traveled to Prague, where he sang in churches to make a living.
Wow.
In 1393, he earned his Bachelor of the Arts degree from the University of Prague.
Good job.
And earned his Master's in 1396.
Wow, good
In
job. So Huss is
1400,
pretty
he was ordained
bright
as a
guy.
He was
priest.
like 25.
Right? Yeah.
Served as rector, which is a high-ranking
Rector
education.
damn near killed him. That's my favorite punchline.
I used that joke in Bye Bye Birdie.
Yes, you did. They came to me and they were like, I need a joke, and I said, just use this punchline. Rectum
Ron,
damn
please.
near killed him.
Ron, please, I need this. Rectum damn near killed him.
That's how I put my fingerprints on a show beyond the characters that I play.
The
But
jokes.
Rectum,
Right.
fart jokes.
But a
always
rector was a high-ranking education official.
Right.
He was that for the University of Prague in 1402 to 1403. In 1402, Huss began preaching inside the city, demanding reform of the church. Now, in this day and age, like the medieval society, the churches had the power.
Yeah, that was
yeah.
absolute power.
Like,
the Vatican
they were-
was the ruler of the world.
Way more
As a
important
science
than
teacher, I have to
kings.
talk about this all the time. Like, now you have to understand, kids, what the church said went. Whether you agree with it or
Right.
not. And then we still have the echoes of that now, where some people have the hardest time trusting science because it's not what they're taught in church.
Yeah,
Even though they're totally separate.
horrifying.
worlds,
Well, we're
going
gonna
to
find out pretty
Right.
soon what happens when you disrespect the church in the 1400s.
I suspect it has something to do with the window.
Possibly.
You just wait, Jeff. John Huss, he was a fan of the works of John Wycliffe, who was
Wycliffe
a writer.
John.
Wycliffe John.
Yeah, Wycliffe John. He attacked the privileged status of the clergy, which was central to their power in England. Hey,
His words.
you.
What? Am I distracting?
Fella.
This is not. I'm not used to
Look,
this.
fella.
I'm not used to distracting people.
He's
Jeff's
not
going to just
actually
march
British.
on.
Wycliffe advocated translating the Bible into vernacular, or the local language of the
That was
area.
not.
Oh no, you don't want
Before
people to
that-
be able to read it in their own language. and
Before then,
understand it.
most
No,
of
no,
the
no, no.
Bibles were in Latin.
Yeah.
Because that way the church could control who knew what.
Exactly. And what they.
And you had to go to the
Yeah.
church to be blessed and to be saved.
Right.
Wycliffe's writings were banned in churches at the
Absolutely.
time, naturally.
Yeah. The word of
But,
God should be banned in church.
Right. Of all
Naturally.
places.
Huss translated one of Wycliffe's books, Trilogus, I think, which
means
argued,
three
Means
loguses.
word.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
logos means first like word.
Oh,
which
there you go.
argued for reduction of monetary standing of the church. He translated that into Czech, which is what most people in the Bohemian nation spoke,
Sure.
and helped to distribute it. Now,
He's asking for trouble.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
he is.
And was he. Well, he had to.
You might say that it was a Czech mix.
Whoa!
hey,
There's a Blake Cox-like joke right
well, we're
there.
getting ready to get into a Czech mix-up here.
Whoa!
He wasn't in a church, but Huss attacked the church from his pulpit in the city,
Right.
Denouncing moral failings of the clergy, bishops, and the papacy.
Yeah, this didn't go well.
Strangely enough,
No, it didn't go over well.
So what
I'm
you're saying
sure.
is he didn't check himself before he rectored himself?
Oh.
I hate this show so much.
and just like that, Jared Eaton became my favorite of the wild
Yep.
cards.
Of course.
He was a double pun.
The archbishop at the time, this was a
Canterbury.
name I had to look up. Zbigniew Zajic.
Oh, Spinik Jojic.
Yeah, your old pal.
Yeah, Spinik Jojic.
Played tennis together for a while.
Spleeny. Spleeny.
He
It's
actually,
a little known fact, but he was the first known zombie.
That is true.
Spinik Jojic zombie?
I've read that. It's in the apocrypha of zombies.
They called him the Triple
Actually,
Z.
the Triple Z.
Triple D.
The Zbigniew Zajic zombie.
Z, or we'd call him Sleep.
That's why when you say
ZZZ.
No,
Sleep.
no, I
That's
got
why
it.
when
I
you get
got
people
Well, I'm doing it for the fans.
with tattoos with ZZZ on it, they're really talking about
Archbishop.
being
They're talking about being zombies.
And just like that, Ron Blair became my least favorite of the wild card.
I don't think it was a sudden turn of events. I think it happens
was
over
always
time.
true.
You weren't ranked until today.
Right.
The Archbishop, Zbigniew Zajic, he tolerated Huss attacking the church, which I
Wow.
thought was weird.
That is
generous,
bizarre.
honestly.
Yeah.
He even made Huss a preacher in an actual church.
Wow, he must actually support what he was saying then.
He's a
Yeah.
liberal.
However, on,
ZZ's a pussy is what was happening.
yeah, I think that might be what happened.
Yeah.
On June 24th, 1405, Pope Innocent VII,
Was he innocent? Was he really?
No. No.
not entirely.
Check my notes here.
Let me see what he did.
Man, I didn't put in a subsection.
He
for whether
may
he was
have
innocent or
thrown
not.
someone out a window. I don't know.
Pope douchebag the eighth.
Pope Douchebag the Eighth. There were 7 douchebags before him.
At least.
They were just as bad, if not worse.
He directed the Archbishop to counter all of the teachings of Wycliffe, as well as forbid any further attacks on the clergy. So he had his eye on Huss, making sure
Eye on Huss.
he was on the up and up.
Huss.
Huss.
That's
In 1406,
This morning, eye on Huss. Oh, you can't stop, Jake.
well, see, I was
Hey,
trying.
that's mine.
I was trying to piece together what I woke up and hussed could mean.
You cannot focus on what he's saying, or you will never finish.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
Do not try to make sense of Ron Blair.
I've learned that in daily life.
Doing this podcast is like pissing into a hurricane. You just got to keep on with it and not worry that you're getting pissed all over.
It's all coming back to
I don't
said
know.
the man peeing into the
I don't
wind.
know. I was trying to make an interesting analogy.
It was
with
an analogy,
urine.
but it was pretty bad. I think
Well,
it was kind of
you know,
disgusting, my friend.
I think pissing into a hurricane is interesting.
I prefer the pissing in dark pants.
Oh,
You
so
get-
that
you get
people
a
don't
warm
know.
feel,
that you
they'll
pissed
never
your pants.
know.
Right,
You don't
right.
feel-
They'll never know.
This podcast is much like pissing in warm pants. You get a warm feeling and nobody knows
Warm
it. Warm pants.
Dark pants.
Dark pants. Warm pants. See, I've had my share.
Nothing quite
No
like
one
a
pisses in warm pants. That is. I will throw you through the window if you even speak such words again.
There will be a defenestration of the Wild
On the
Card
podcast.
podcast. Now,
Luckily, we
Please,
do
Jake.
this show from the basement. So if you throw me out the window, I'll just land on the ground.
Pretty high window there.
Where do you find your warm pants before you piss in them?
Dryer. They're fresh out of the dryer.
I take a nice,
my fresh
out of the
pants.
dryer piss.
Right.
You make it sound like you just came out of the dryer.
Right. Right.
It's how I start my day.
Would you get Jake out of the dryer? I'd like to piss on him before I begin my day.
Why do you think we made Jake take off his pants?
Right.
They're in the dryer?
Look, I will say it's very freeing.
It's good.
I feel liberated.
It's good. Just let it flap in the breeze.
So hey, how about 1406 in Bohemia?
Whoa.
How about that?
When
I was there.
you-
I was there. I saw it all.
Are you into your second paragraph yet?
Yeah, I'm actually there. Two Bohemian students brought a document bearing the seal of the University of Oxford to Bohemia. This document praised Wycliffe, and Huss proudly read the document from his pulpit in his church.
Of course.
that he, was given by the Archbishop. In 1408, Pope Gregory the 12th.
What happened to Innocent?
Oh, Greg.
He's somewhere else, I guess.
He was sent home.
Look, I only know what Wikipedia told me. all
Right. There you go. Fair enough.
He warned Archbishop Zajic that the church in Rome had been informed of Wycliffe's heresies and ordered all writings surrendered to the church for correction. Huss obeyed this order, even condemning the errors in the writings. I'm guessing perhaps to keep his position in the church, where he could keep
Well, or maybe,
speaking,
or he didn't disagree with
or-
it entirely.
Exactly. Or
Maybe there were
Maybe-
some things
or
in
he
the
was-
writings he disagreed
Or
with.
he was
feel
like,
like-
no, you're right. No, here you go. And then he just started writing more.
he didn't feel like dying that day,
Right,
possibly.
just placating the church so that
Exactly.
he could continue getting what he needed.
That was entirely an inference on my part.
Well,
Maybe it
no,
was
we
to
can
keep his
only guess
position in
what the
church.
motives were or
Yeah,
whatnot.
I can't go
There's
back
no
to-
determination.
There's no guesswork in the
1408
Walker
massacre.
podcast.
Right. And there's only the
Can't
truth
either.
spoken.
This podcast is all about time traveling, loops in time.
Exploring
Yeah,
loops and
So
Loops in time.
I think
What is
we
this
could go
about?
back to loops in time, exploring loops in time, because I think we can go back to 14.
What is it about?
It's about exploring loops in time. So perhaps we can go back to 1409 and ask.
Boy, am I glad to be here.
Jake, that was the moment Jake regretted his decision.
It was in that moment Jake realized he messed up.
The hell have I done?
No puede, well, cosas.
What?
Cuidado, piso mojado
See,
means caution,
Caution,
wet
wet
floor.
floor.
In 1408, the Charles University in Prague was divided by the Western Schism.
chuck you.
Yeah.
Schism or
Chuck you.
schism?
It's schism.
Schism, thank you.
Schism.
You're welcome.
Which
Did
saw,
you say schism?
Yes.
That's
You
my
did.
favorite thing you've ever done.
Thank you. Not the first or
What?
last time I'll
Schism.
mispronounce
Schism.
something here. Which saw Gregory XII in Rome and Benedict XIII in Avignon, which was France, both claim the papacy. So they both said they were pope.
Right.
They had a pope off.
Yeah,
They had a
hold
pope
on.
off.
Sunday
Sunday.
at the pavilion.
At the pavilion.
Watch us sacrifice your firstborn before your very eyes.
Well, Pope Gregory XII.
The annihilator.
Pope is better than your Pope. Come find out when they fight to the
It was
death.
actually a demolition derby is what they did to decide the
That, I love that.
Monster truck rally.
Monster truck rally.
Taco
Watch
bar.
Pope Gregory jump the monster truck lineup.
In Gravedigger.
I was there with you.
King Wenceslas.
Wenceslas.
He went down
Wenceslas?
up on the
Wenceslas.
Feast of Stephen.
Wenceslas.
Yeah.
And the
Thanks,
snow lay round
There's a
about,
song,
deep and
there's a
crisp
song.
and even.
Pardon?
Brightly shone the moon that night, though the frost was cruel.
Gotcha.
And the poor man did something. What'd he do?
With his winter gruel.
Well, he
Yeah,
was
with his
the,
winter gruel.
He was
It was
the
delicious.
king of Bohemia at this time.
Oh, Bohemian
And he,
King.
yeah.
Yeah.
He had a rhapsody at
I was
some
going to
point.
say, you got there first.
He denounced Gregory and ordered the clergy in Bohemia to remain neutral.
How does one, if one is elected pope through a series of by the cardinals, how is there a dispute then upon who gets to be the pope?
The pope in Avignon was appointed by the King of France.
Oh, the papacy is the problem here, or the not the papacy, the monarchy.
Well,
becomes the problem.
There were different power centers supporting each of the separate popes, and France refused to recognize the Pope in Rome.
It turns out the Bible doesn't have anything to say about a Pope.
That was kind of a problem too, then, I would reckon.
The Archbishop...
It's just, how audacious, right?
Our boy Zajic.
I also want to point out that it's funny that the Czech Republic is the one staying neutral instead of Switzerland.
Right.
They're close. They're really close neighbors.
Well, Czech was like, I ain't getting into this shit. This is too much.
I'm going to chickadee check out.
Right. Oh my.
Well... the Archbishop, our good friend, the zombie Zajic, he remained faithful to Gregory, but Huss and his scholars, they remained neutral. Now, this next bit is where time gets a little weird, loops in time and such.
Right.
The Kutna Hora Decree. I'm not sure exactly when this happened, but the Bohemian nation would receive 3 votes in university affairs, while the Bavarian, Saxon, and Polish nations would only have 1 vote in total. And that really skeeved some people off.
Okay.
So,
in
1409, between 5,000 and 20,000 foreign doctors, masters, and students left Prague.
Big range.
A lot.
A big exodus of brains there.
Yeah. Charles University, they lost their international importance, became a strictly Czech school.
The Czech you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you said.
I'm with you.
The people who left, the emigrants, they spread the word of the Bohemian heresies throughout all of Europe. Archbishop Zajic became isolated, but Huss was enjoying the height of his fame, serving as rector, receiving the favor of the court. Wycliffe's doctrines began to regain favor in Prague.
So this is really an assault on the church itself, really, from the inside. Not only is it's not just one person saying this is bullshit; it's a lot of them agreeing with the guy who's saying this is bullshit.
And
now they're spreading around too.
Right,
and since
they've gone beyond Czech Republic.
Most of what's left is like the Czech, lower class people.
Right.
They're Huss is telling them all this in Czech, so he's teaching Wycliffe again.
Right.
Because the higher up people are gone now.
Right.
They began to regain favor in Prague, the Wycliffe doctrines, for now. In 1409, the Council of Pisa.
The Council of Pisa.
Jared and I are on the Council of Pisa. We meet once a month.
Founding member.
Right. Founding member.
I didn't think about this topic. Tried to end the Western Schism by electing Alexander V as Pope. Huss, his followers, and their king transferred their allegiance to Alexander, and as I wrote here, bad move as it turns out.
Bad move, Al.
Well done, Huss.
On December 20th, 1409, Alexander issued a papal decree, or papal bull.
A papal bull.
A papal bull.
A papal bull.
Could you feel it? Could you feel it?
Yeah.
Did you feel the papal bull?
Was it
papal?
Palpable?
Was it papal palpable?
Jeff, help.
There's no help.
There's no help. The help is to just ignore these idiots.
But
we point it out all the time.
On that day,
true.
the December 20th, 1409,
And admit it openly.
he issued that papal bull allowing Archbishop Zajic to proceed against Wycliffism in Prague. After an unsuccessful appeal to Alexander by Huss, all of Wycliffe's writings were surrendered and subsequently burned.
Wow.
Huss and his followers were then excommunicated by Alexander.
See ya.
Wow.
They removed from the church.
No, I'm really surprised this didn't happen long before.
Like, way
any of this.
sooner.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
It's only been about 3 or 4 years, but
this
still.
this first story about the defenestration of Prague is the one that I was less familiar with.
Yeah.
Before doing research for this, I wasn't aware there were 2.
Yeah.
Which one is your favorite now?
The second
second.
one.
Yeah. Oh, well, we better let him get to it because he saved the best for last.
I'm still
Come
on the first
Jake.
one.
Roll on through this one.
After Alexander V's death in 1410,
1410.
and Archbishop Zajic's in 1411, John the 22nd became Pope and proclaimed a crusade or holy war against King Ladislas of Naples, a protector of the rival Pope Gregory the 12th. I love the
popping
idea
off.
of a rival pope.
Yeah.
This is a really convoluted story. I feel like we should have a cork board that has like the names
Yeah.
and then
With all the
all
lines.
these connections.
Jake's got crazy eyes.
Much like the
I'm actually
Killer
following it
Moon.
in my head. I've got the corkboard in my head. I don't know why you're confused.
Well, because you're smarter than the rest of us, Jeff.
John the 22nd authorized the sale of indulgences.
Oh goddamn!
Yeah,
That
you guys know
pisses me off.
indulgences,
We
but-
actually mentioned those last week
Yeah.
on the show, didn't we? Yeah.
For those who don't know, it's a monetary payment in exchange for the removal of sin.
Yeah.
Right. Much like what the televangelists are doing right now,
Yeah.
and it's completely legal.
Well, indulgences actually started with the call for the First Crusade when they wanted people to come crusade
Oh, yeah,
in
you
the
were
Holy
forgiven
Land.
of your sins,
That
you go
you'd
fight
be
in the war.
forgiven of all the sins that you committed while on crusade.
away.
So you could do anything on crusade, and you
Rape,
could,
murder, steal.
rape,
You'll be forgiven.
exactly,
for that.
and God would be forgiven because you're doing the holy war for
Yeah.
God.
If I may, for a
and
moment,
then it was taken from that purity
Right.
and just eventually sold for money.
Yeah.
I
It
never-
gives so much power to church officials.
I never understood the logic of, especially when people find out that I'm an atheist, where they go, well, how do you not murder all the time? Well, I don't need a God to keep me morally centered, okay? I'm not a dick. How
Because
about
I'm
that?
a good person? I don't know.
Because
And if you look at a lot of Christians, God doesn't keep them morally centered.
No, he doesn't. He just keeps it in the closet because let's keep up
Or on
appearances.
Facebook.
Right, exactly.
So,
But let's move on
John the
before the
22nd,
soapbox
he
gets tempting.
authorized the sale of the indulgences in order to help pay for the crusade.
Yep.
Right. Well, there you go.
Huss
Jeff
committed
jumped
a-
ahead this time.
Good way to make money.
Huss
Yeah,
committed
it
a
is.
big no-no and condemned the indulgences in public
Wow.
and
Man,
the
I like this guy.
crusades,
I like this guy a lot.
saying
I do
that
too.
saying no pope or bishop has the right to take up sword in the name of the church. He should pray for his enemies and bless those that curse him.
Yep.
Huss also
Oh
proclaimed
man,
that
Huss is a Christian. It's weird.
I know. I really like Huss.
Huss also proclaimed that man obtains forgiveness of sins by true repentance, not money.
This is before Lutheran too. Lutherans
Yeah.
changed
Yeah.
a lot of this doctrine.
Well, Luther was 15. It was the 1500s. I
Some
believe?
of something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Some of Huss's followers burned the papal decrees, saying that Huss should be obeyed rather than the church,
Oh, that's dangerous.
who they
Yeah,
viewed
that's
as
scary.
adulterers and frauds. Speaking of dangerous, 3 men who openly called the indulgences a fraud were beheaded.
Yep.
These 3 men were the first martyrs of the Hussite church, which would later develop
We call them hussies.
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 Yeah. I'm sure that's where that term comes from.
I love me some hussies.
Huss continued to teach things deemed heretical? Heretical?
Heretical.
Okay, thank you.
Heresies.
Being against the church.
And I mean, he's already been excommunicated at this point.
Right.
So-
yeah. What else are you going to
Yeah.
do to him outside of throw him out the window?
Attempts at reconciliation, stop his loudmouthness,
Right.
failed. As Huss said, even if I should stand before the stake which has been prepared for me, I would never accept the recommendation of the theological faculty.
God, this guy's got balls. Right
Yeah.
from the beginning, he's got balls.
This man, whenever I was doing my research, immediately became one of my favorite historical
Yeah,
figures.
he's
Right up there with my boy Henry VIII.
Are you him?
Yeah. Henry
you
VIII,
he?
I am.
Oh, okay.
Are you
Henry
he?
VIII, I am.
Come on,
I'm
turtles.
he- I'm
What
he-
is the, who
he
sang
man?
that? It was the turtles, right? It
Why
doesn't
not?
matter.
Thundercats.
Donatello, Leonardo,
Right,
Raphael,
right.
Michelangelo.
Master Splinter. Yeah.
I
All those guys.
don't think it was, but okay.
Yeah. No, we spit nothing but the truth here.
I'm just throwing out names.
So obviously, with
Gary.
all of this,
Gary.
all of this bad
Gabby.
mouthing of the church coming out from
Sizzles.
Huss, the Pope and the Archbishop, would retaliate with barbs of their own. And attacks on Huss by the Pope and the Archbishop caused riots in parts of Bohemia.
Oh,
Oh, they were looking to riot anyway. They
true.
just
Bohemians.
yeah.
Remind me how to say that?
Wenceslas.
Okay. King Wenceslas the Fourth took Huss's side.
Wow.
Churches,
king, wow.
yeah, the king. Churches of the city were put under ban.
He just probably wanted to get the power away from the church into him, but
When the
still.
poor man came about, gathering winter fuel.
Oh, good.
Merry Christmas, wild card.
To protect the city.
it was Herman's Hermits that sang
Herman's
it.
Hermits, not the turtles.
Not the turtles.
Or toodles,
Proceed.
as
Thank
I
you.
like to hear them pronounced.
To protect the city, Huss left and went to the countryside, where he continued to preach.
Very good.
I very much liked this because it was like he took a big jump. He no longer put his trust in, quote, a fickle king, a hostile pope, or ineffective council. Instead, Huss appealed to Jesus Christ himself as a supreme judge, bypassing the laws and structures of the medieval church.
So he went out to the countryside and said, "Fuck all of you
All of
guys."
you.
Establishment.
Yeah, every
Jesus
one of
is
you
my
guys.
boy.
He went out to the country where there are only first floor buildings, like ground floor buildings.
He began writing books in Czech
Man.
for priests whose Latin was poor. Huss agreed to meet with the Council of Constance on November the 1st, 1414, to attempt to put an end to the dissension.
I bet this goes well.
Yeah, it sure does. And especially, it goes well when he made his will before setting out.
He knew.
Gosh, he knew what he was facing.
Huss arrived in Constance on November the 3rd, 1414. After a few weeks, on November 28th, 1414, his opponents succeeded in imprisoning him on the rumor that he was intending to flee. Huss was not allowed an advocate for his defense, and he was delivered to the Bishop of Constance and brought to his castle, Gottingen on the Rhine, where he remained for 73 days, separated from friends, chained up, poorly fed, and ill. He was tried where he more than once refused to recant, and he was condemned on July 6, 1415 as a heretic. He fell upon his knees and asked God to forgive his enemies. He was dressed in priestly vestments and asked once more to recant and save his life. He refused, and his ornaments were taken, and he was delivered to the secular authorities. A tall paper hat with a word on it, meaning leader of a heretical movement, was placed on his head, and he was led to the stake.
This is where the dunce caps come from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He was undressed, hands tied behind his back, and bound by a chain around his neck to the stake. Wood and straw were piled up to his neck. He was asked to recant once more, and he refused, saying, "God is my witness that the things charged against me I never preached, in the same breath as the gospel which I have written, taught, and preached, drawing upon the saying and positions of the holy doctors, I am ready to die today." Anecdotally, it's been claimed that the executioners had trouble intensifying the fire. It is said that before he expired, Huss called out, "Christ, Son of the living God, have mercy on us." His ashes were later thrown in the Rhine River to prevent reverence of his remains.
Wait, who got thrown out the window?
got thrown out the window?
Hold on. You just hold on.
Well,
We needed all of that.
I was promised.
We needed all that.
We needed. We actually. We
promised-
did
and
need that.
However,
because
if you kill somebody over their opinion like that, the opinion doesn't die.
Nope.
Okay, that's the thing about Huss.
V
And
for
I'm sure
Vendetta.
he knew
V for
that.
Vendetta.
Behind this mask is an idea. An idea is our book.
yes, we needed that because if I just said this next guy was a Hussite priest, you all would wonder what I was talking about.
He was the priest Bohemian needed.
So he picked up the mantle.
but not the one.
but not the one they wanted.
They're not the one they wanted at the
Right.
time. Okay, so the first defenestration of Prague, July 30th, 1419. John Zalivsky, a Hussite priest, led his congregation on a procession through the streets of Prague to the new town hall. Town council members had refused to exchange their Hussite prisoners, so they were going there to try and get them back.
locking
I
up more people
suppose.
for believing what Huss believed.
Exactly. While they were marching, a stone was thrown at Zalivsky from the window of the town hall. It hit him, and enraged by this, the mob...
Who did that?
The mob stormed the town hall, and once inside, the group threw the judge, the chief magistrate, and several members of the town council out of the window.
Wow.
Now is this like multiple stories up?
Yes, I believe so.
I was expecting one.
I was expecting one person to be thrown out. I didn't expect the mob
They
to
were-
throw out the entire city council.
Yeah,
They
they chucked the entire accounting department out the
You
window.
and
They
that
were
guy
all
over there,
killed
who's just
by the fall.
taking out
All
the
of them
trash.
died
Right.
Wow.
from
Bring
falling
him
out of
over
that
here.
window. The king, whose name I have trouble pronouncing always,
Wenceslas,
upon hearing the news, was stunned and died shortly after, supposedly due to the shock.
He said, "Holy shit!" Oh,
Hussite
Defenestration,
preachers
man.
urged their congregations to take up arms against the corrupt church, jump-starting the Hussite Wars.
Wow.
The Hussite Wars pitted the Hussite heretics against the Catholic Orthodox forces of
That's
the Holy
not
Roman
like they're gonna
Emperor,
win.
no.
the papacy, and various European monarchs still loyal to the Catholic Church.
Shit.
This war is notable in that it was known for extensive use of early handheld firearms, such as hand cannons.
Okay, yeah.
Eventually, the Hussite forces split into
I call my
factions.
fists.
As used in the Fable video games.
Hand cannons.
There were
My fists are hand cannons. Sally and Junior.
The Utraquist, I think, Hussites, who were more on the side of the church, and the radical Taborite Hussites.
I don't need your middle of the road Hussites.
I sure did do this. I
Were they
said,
new
and,
radicals?
and the radical Taborite Hussites, who were the radicals.
Who are the radicals?
I was
It's a
very
good note to make.
tired.
It's a good note to make.
In 1434, the Taborite Hussites were defeated, and the Hussites agreed to submit to the authority of the King of the Bohemia and the Catholic Church.
Oh, that's a shame.
But that's not all, gentlemen. We have the second
I thought that
defenestration
was
of
all.
Prague to talk
right.
about.
Yeah,
Second
all right.
defenestration.
We're only halfway through.
We're going to jump ahead a little bit.
This is great.
In 1555.
Yes, I was there.
Yes, Ron.
Yes, of
I
course.
was having breakfast that morning.
He's a
You're
time
omnipresent,
traveler.
and we
I'm a
know
He's
time
a
this.
time
traveler.
traveler. He's been to every
He's actually a
age
time
of
traveler.
his
I'm
life.
Dr. Howe.
Well, he is a time traveler's wife.
I'm not Doctor Who, I'm Dr. Howe, as in...
How did you
How
get
the
here?
hell?
I thought you were Doctor what?
Dr. what?
Dr. Huh?
What?
Dr. Sayus?
It's a Dr. Zayas.
Dr.
Zayas,
Quinn,
Dr.
medicine
Zayas. Dr. Zayas. Ooh, rock me,
Yeah.
Dr. Zayas.
So,
I
hey,
can't
let's
say
talk
that.
about
That was from the
1555.
If Ron was a rock band, he'd be the
I'm
what?
always ready to talk
I'd be the what?
We
The
should
what?
all be ready.
That's what my fans
Not
do.
the Who.
The what?
The what?
The what? The Who? I would want to go on tour with the Who. The Who, the what, the how,
The why not?
and Herman's Hermits. And the why not.
The why not?
Jim the Animal Neidhart under a mask.
Jim the Animal
The
Neidhart.
who, the what,
Well, he-
and the why not?
He wrestled
That's
for
right.
a while under a mask, and his wrestling name when he was under the mask was Who.
Who?
So he could be a
doesn't-
walking Abbott and Costello
because
bit in the ring.
Because he doesn't have the most definitive looking body in wrestling. He's a square. He looks like
He
a
does.
box.
So if he opened the night, who was up first?
Heart,
Heart.
Knight,
Who's up
Heart,
first?
Jim, who? What?
Say, hey.
Yes.
Hey, how?
Demonstrations.
In
Defenestrations.
1555,
Let's throw some people out of
a
windows.
document called the Peace of Augsburg has
I like to get me a piece of Augsburg.
Piece of
You sure would.
Augsburg.
Had settled religious disputes in the Holy Roman Empire by allowing a prince to determine the religion of his subjects.
That's always a good idea.
The Kingdom of Bohemia had, since 1526, been governed by Habsburg kings who did not force their Catholic religion on their mostly Protestant subjents.
Thank
Now
you,
these are the
Habsburg.
kings who
Cool
had
guys.
the McCoys as the rivals.
Yeah, had the Habsburgs and
The Habsburgs and the Quins.
In
I didn't even hate
1609,
that one.
Yeah. Yay!
I loved it. In 1609, Rudolph II, Red-Nosed Reindeer,
My favorite of the Rudolphs, the two Rudolphs, if I had to choose one.
the
The
Holy,
first one was a dick.
he was
Yeah, the
the,
second one was much better.
he was the Holy Roman Emperor and King of Bohemia at the time. He increased the rights of the Protestants in the area.
Oh wow!
That didn't sit well, as he was
as it wouldn't.
as he
No.
was increasingly viewed as unfit to rule. Under other members of the Habsburg dynasty,
Yeah, Habsburg.
It's a B.
Habsburg.
It's
It's gotta be it.
it's a B.
Habsburg.
Yeah,
That
it's
seems
weird.
a misprint to me.
It was
It's
all
the
over the
Habsburgs
Wikipedia dynasty. He declared his younger brother Matthias to be family head in 1606. Matthias began to take land from Rudolf, starting with Hungary. In 1609, to strengthen his hold on Bohemia, Rudolf issued the Letter of Majesty, which granted Bohemia's largely Protestant estates the right to freely exercise their religion.
I have one of those. I have a Letter of Majesty. I bought it from a gift shop in Prague.
Essentially,
So it lets you celebrate your Protestantism at home.
That's right.
I bet you take a good advantage of that.
this set up a Protestant Bohemian state church controlled by the estates, dominated by the towns, and rural Bohemian state church controlled by the estates. Yeah, sorry.
Oh,
Yes.
those Bohemians.
Those Bohemian
You want to
bumpkins.
start singing Rent.
Upon
La Vie Bohème.
it wouldn't last. Upon the death of Rudolph, as I'm sure the other reindeer were thrilled.
They
at.
were upset
They
about it.
can get back to other games.
Yeah. Are we in Bohemia?
Yeah, we're in Bohemia.
Bohemia? I think it's Bohema.
I believe it's pronounced Bohemia.
Bohemia.
Bohemia. I believe.
Bohemia.
Jeremiah's got
Bohemia. Bohema.
Bohemia. Jeremiah Schillings.
Bohemia.
Shout out to Jeremiah.
I think
Upon
it's
a
just Bohemia.
I just like making noises with my mouth.
I've noticed that.
Yeah.
I have
Don't
noticed
say.
that.
We've known that for 50
down to your
episodes,
ice
I
now?
think.
It's I've been down to my ice for a little while now. I've been munching silently. and
Munching
shit.
silent.
Munching
Wow.
silently.
I haven't experienced that, the munching silently before.
I usually don't do most things
He's
silently.
further from the mic than normal because I'm kind of in his spot.
Right.
Upon Rudolph's death, Matthias succeeded in the rule of Bohemia, 1612 to 1619, and extended his offer of more legal and religious concessions to Bohemia, relying mostly on the advice of his chancellor, Bishop Melchior Wessel.
Oh yeah, I've heard
I
that.
can't hear you. There's
That's
munching in my ears. I can't hear a word.
From Melchior Report, right?
Conflict is brewing, gentlemen.
Ooh, is that
Here
what the smell
or
is?
in the in your
smell
report?
Yes.
Yes.
He
Yes.
picks up my glass head and starts tossing
That
it back
smell
and
was
forth
either
between his hands.
conflict or flatulence. I'm looking at you, Ron.
What? I didn't do it.
Say
What?
Conflict was precipitated by two factors. Matthias already aging and without children, made his cousin Ferdinand of Styria his heir and had him elected
Ferdinand of Styria?
Ferdinand of Styria.
Of Styria? Styria's a place?
Yeah.
Apparently.
It's Mysterio.
According to Wikipedia.
Mysterio.
Suspiria.
According to
Where
Wikipedia.
Herman and the Hermits are from?
Never,
Styria?
yes.
You seen the new trailer?
I have
Suspiria?
not, because I'm not a huge Suspiria fan. Like,
So
I
Jeff,
like
you
it.
seen
It was
this
just
new
so long
trailer for
ago,
this
and I don't
thing
think I
in the middle of the
understood it when I
report?
first saw it. I didn't
Was that a
understand
thing?
Dario
That is a
Argento
thing.
movies back then.
That happens all the time, Jake. Haven't you listened to all 49 previous episodes?
Styria is a mountainous forested state in southern Austria.
Thank you, sir.
Very good.
No.
Well, he made his cousin
They have
Ferdinand
Styria.
of Styria his heir, had him elected king in 1617. Ferdinand was a proponent of the Catholic Counter-Reformation.
Wait a second. You said elected king. How do you get elected king? How are
I
you
wasn't
a
there,
king
Jeff.
who is elected?
I wasn't there. Not sure.
Who elects the king?
I think it's a
The electors.
It's like an American
Electoral
gladiator sort
college?
of contest.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
it's
like
jousting.
yeah, there was jousting and trivia. There was a trivia contest and a drinking
gauntlet.
contest. And there was all that
Arm
going
wrestling.
on.
Well, I mean, if-
Do the minor kings elect the dominant king?
I would
Is
have
that-
to assume
I-
it's something like that, because if you know Monty Python at all, you know you don't vote for kings.
That's right.
I think it should be about who finds swords in lakes. I
I
think that's a
agree.
good system for
Yeah,
that.
I think
For
that's the best
government.
system of
Swords
government.
Yeah.
yeah.
I was a king once.
I think it should be
I've been a
who can
prince
gather the most
couple
coconuts so
times.
that they have the largest mounted army.
Yeah. You get the
Absolutely.
swallows.
So
to
hey,
get for you.
Ferdinand, he was a proponent of the Catholic Counter-Reformation, wasn't into Protestantism or Bohemian freedoms.
Freedom,
no,
I could do without.
a pass. Hard pass.
Bohemian Protestants opposed the royal government as they interpreted the Letter of Majesty to extend not only to the land controlled by the nobility or self-governing towns, but also to the king's own lands. So they thought the king could have more land. Where Matthias and Kessel were prepared to appease these demands, Ferdinand was not. In 1618, he forced the emperor to stop construction of some Protestant chapels on Holy Land. When the Bohemian estates protested against this order, Ferdinand had their assembly dissolved.
In what?
in
Water.
acid.
Wow.
Oh, in water.
They dissolved in water. That's terrifying.
They were made of
sucrose.
wafer.
They were there a while. a while. They
Right.
were
Paper
there.
mache.
They were paper mache
As the
temples.
Tilapia ate their skin.
The tilapia ate their skin.
as they do.
on
Tilapia is a ravenous fish. You have to watch out for them.
Get ready for a bunch of names I'm going to mispronounce.
Yeah.
Excellent.
On-
This is my favorite
Tag
part of
me
the
in whatever you
show.
want. I love mispronouncing names.
On May 23rd, 1618, for Catholic Lords Regent, Count Yaroslav Borzita of,
Yes. Great.
of Martinice,
Yeah,
Count Willem Slavata of Chlum,
you're doing
Chalum.
good. Chalum. Chalum's my favorite party.
Oh, here's a good one.
Adam II von Sternberg,
It's an easy one.
and Matthew Leopold Popel Lobkowitz.
Okay, before you go on, I want you to go back and read those names as FDR.
Yeah, please.
Count
Here's my
Yaroslav
cabinet.
Borzita of Martinice, Count Willem Slavata of Chlum, Adam II von Sternberg, and Matthew Leopold Popel Lobkowitz.
You did a better job of pronouncing them that way.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was great.
So hey, now that I have trouble with Czech names, I'll just say them as
Yeah,
Same
just
as FDR.
Carl.
It'll all
Just
be-
call him
it'll all be
Carl and Mitch and
Gary.
and
Dave.
Gary. Gary's in there.
One of them's named
Fucks
Adam,
everything up.
so it's
And
Adam.
Matthew.
They arrived at the Bohemian Chancellery at 8:30 a.m. I'm not sure why that's important, but I wrote it down. After preparing the meeting hall, members of the dissolved assembly of the three main Protestant estates,
Do you think they had breakfast?
I think so.
It was like 8:30. What would you eat for breakfast? in
They
Bohemia
had breakfast
the
at
time?
Tiffany's.
Oh.
I think they both kind of liked it.
Breakfast
Well,
at
that's the one thing they
Tiffany's.
got.
Jeez, what is that
But
song?
not much else, as it turns out.
Headline. You know what I'm talking about?
After preparing the meeting, I already
You're
said
saying
that.
they didn't go to Alice's
Breakfast
restaurant?
at Tiffany's.
No, they did not.
I
Think I remember the film as I recall. I think we both kind of liked it.
And
Come on,
I
Jeff.
said,
Well, that's
You're
one thing we got.
You've already said all the words I know.
All right.
What, breakfast
so,
at Tiffany's? That
so
was it.
essentially, we have
Deep
this-
Blue something. I know
these-
you're listening.
These four.
You're welcome, guys.
We have these four Catholic Lords Regent and the assembly of the Protestant estates gathering in this one area.
So these guys are really popular. Is what you're saying.
led by Count Thurn,
Oh.
who had been deprived of his post as Castellan, or governor of a castle,
Count third.
of Karlstadt by the emperor, the Holy Roman Emperor.
Karlstadt Motors.
The Protestant lord's agenda was to clarify whether the 4 regents present were responsible for persuading King Matthias to order the stoppage of
building the
of
Protestant churches. The Protestant churches. So, hey, are you guys responsible for doing all the stuff that we hate?
Hey, who's
this you guys?
know who's building these
Is this you
churches
guys?
out here? We're trying to figure it out.
Before the regents gave any sort of answer, they requested they be allowed to confer with their superior, Adam von Waldstein, who was not present.
That's my favorite Waldstein family.
He wasn't there.
We'll answer you guys, but we're gonna leave first.
Right.
We're gonna
leave
with
this angry mob.
someone who knows a way to not
Yeah.
get us killed. The Protestants demanded an immediate answer. Sternberg and Lobkowitz, 2 of our Lords Regent, were declared innocent by the Protestant estate holders, who said they were too pious to have ceased the churches. They were removed from the room. The remaining regents claimed responsibility and welcomed any punishment the Protestants had for them.
Uh-oh.
Things are about to get hairy, gentlemen.
How tall is this building?
That's what I'm curious about.
Oh, we're getting there.
How many floors?
Count von Thurn turned to both Martinice and Slavata and said, "You are enemies of us and of our religion, and have desired to deprive us of our letter of majesty, have horribly plagued your Protestant subjects, and have tried to force them to adopt your religion against their wills of... What am I... Sorry. And have had them expelled for this reason." Then to the crowd of Protestants, he said, "Were we to keep these men alive, then we would lose the letter of majesty and our religion. For there can be no justice to be gained from or by them."
Thurn's a tough dude.
Yeah, he's the
Thurn.
Pardon my language. He's the
He's
shit
very
stirrer
Thurn.
of the.
He's what?
He's very Thurn.
He's very Thurn
man.
leader.
Yeah, he's a very Thurn leader.
Thurn and strict.
So soon after, the 2 regents and their secretary were thrown from the windows.
Secretary?
Their secretary too.
What did he do?
He's like writing stuff. It's like in Into the Woods when the
Right.
narrator bites.
I didn't do anything.
But they survived the 70-foot fall from the 3rd floor.
Goodness.
Catholics maintained that the men were saved by the angels or by the Virgin Mary who caught them. However, Protestant
Okay, how did they
pamphleteers...
really get saved?
Here we go.
However, Protestant pamphleteers asserted they survived due to falling in a dung heap.
That would do it.
It always cushions my falls.
Oh, yeah.
Immediately after the defenestration, the Protestant estates and Catholic Habsburgs started to prepare for war. After the death of Matthias in 1619, Ferdinand II was elected Holy Roman Emperor. The Bohemian estates quickly removed him as King of Bohemia and replaced him with Frederick V, who was a Calvinist.
No,
John Calvin.
Protestant.
Yeah.
Protestant, yeah.
The Protestants, without a properly chosen king, could not gather international support for war, and just 2 years after the defenestration, Ferdinand of the Catholics regained power in the Battle of White Mountain on November 8, 1620. This became known as the first battle in the 30 Years' War. There was plundering and pillaging in Prague for weeks following the battle, and several months later, 27 nobles and citizens were tortured and executed in the Old Town Square.
How many?
27.
Okay.
12 of their heads were impaled on iron hooks and hung from the bridge tower as a warning. This contributed to starting the 30 Years' War. So basically, with both of these defenestrations here, we've got people who think they're doing the right thing. And in the end, it seems like no justice is served.
Yeah.
A bit.
It seems like once you get thrown out a window, a war is going to start.
Pretty much every
anytime
time.
somebody gets thrown out a window.
Well, I'll admit, if I was thrown from a window, I'd probably be pretty upset.
Yeah.
There's some great defenestrations in the stand at the end.
Oh, yes, in Vegas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
People in authority generally respond negatively to other people in authority being thrown out of windows. It makes them feel like
It's
perhaps it could happen to them.
Maybe it's a threat.
Therefore, they send
gotta put
the
the fear
people
back
that
into
they
the
don't
subjects.
care who
Right.
die to fight the people who threw the other people out the window.
Right.
So
That's
something
a good
I
point.
found really funny about this.
So much more than shooting them with a crossbow.
This article that they had on this on Wikipedia.
Well,
was
crossbow
that-
doesn't make a statement. Being thrown
That's
out a
true.
window
That-
makes a statement.
That does make a statement right
Was that
off.
at the very end of the article on Wikipedia, it has a subcategory for other defenestrations.
Great.
Oh, cool.
Did you look that up? Did you
Dive
click
into
on that
the
link?
rabbit hole.
I did a little bit.
Good.
It
What else you got?
Well, there's not much to it. Just a couple more guys getting thrown out of windows. Some of them ruled eventually as like suicides or something like that.
Yeah.
So nothing super substantial or war starting. But I found it funny that Prague has had so many defenestrations. that
Prague
they had-
itself?
Yeah, those were all in Prague.
Yeah, but is there
It's like-
a great tradition of throwing people out of
It's like a
windows
thing.
in
There's
the
a
Czech
festival.
Republic?
It's like a
That's-
thing.
yeah.
Right.
If you want to be a citizen of Prague, you have to chuck an authority figure out of a window.
I get it.
I'm going to
At
Prague.
least
Buy-in.
once.
I'm going to become a
At least
citizen. Yeah.
once.
And we can bring some United States
So
officials
this-
over. I got some.
Oh,
this-
I've got a ton of those I'd like to throw out a window.
This particular event, the second defenestration of Prague, was something that I don't know why, but it really stuck with me when I was a senior in high school. I took advanced placement European history.
Yeah.
And
Oh, keep bragging on yourself, Jay.
I was going to ask you,
go ahead.
how did you even find out about this story,
Yeah.
and why were you
AP
so...
history.
AP
It's-
European history.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but just the thought of a bunch of guys getting real upset and throwing people.
Well, and not
Throwing
just
an
that.
entire
window.
council of people out of a window.
It's that they're upset about religion and people disagreeing with their religion, and so to do it, we're going to kill these people because that's what. Our
that's what we're supposed
right.
to do.
That's what our religion teaches us,
Yeah.
right?
So
I mean,
that
it is
gentleman
Jezebel. It's how Jezebel's killed in the Bible,
is the defenestration of Prague.
and she's eaten by
Both of them.
eaten by dogs as well.
Would you count? You know that scene in Hannibal? It's in the book as well, but the scene in Hannibal where Hannibal kills Pazzi, the Italian policeman. Would you consider that? I don't know that he throws him out a window,
I don't remember.
but I think he does throw him out a window.
I haven't seen
Oh.
it. I haven't seen it.
Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
No one knows what you're talking
He's
about.
got him in a dolly. He's got him in kind of a dolly.
In a
and he
pram?
pushes him out.
But-
Not so much
Pram.
a pram, just a dolly.
But where was
Not a
Richie and the
babysitter.
Fonz if Pazzi was being thrown out a window?
They were down
Oh,
at
Jeff,
they
you
were down
clever
at the
fellow.
Regal Beagle having a drink with Jack and Chrissy and Janet.
Oh, here we go. I found the article. Further defenestrations. Sorry, not other defenestrations.
Yeah, I want some further definitive. Let's hear some window throwing stories here.
Well, if my phone will load it, that'll be great.
My appetite needs to be
Needs to be
satiated
whet.
by this. Yeah,
Sated.
whet my appetite with more
Whet
throwing
it.
out window stories.
I would. There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
We're almost there.
More events of defenestration have occurred in Prague. This is from Wikipedia.
Yeah.
More events of defenestration have occurred in Prague during its history, but they are not usually called defenestrations of Prague.
They're calling throwing people out windows in Prague.
A defenestration, chronologically the second defenestration of Prague, sometimes called 1.5 defenestration,
Smart.
happened on the 24th of September
Someone didn't make it out the window?
1483 when a violent overthrow of the municipal governments of the old and new towns ended with throwing the old town Port Reeve and the bodies of 7 killed aldermen out the windows.
So they were dead
Other
before.
They already
Yeah,
no,
that's
that doesn't
already
count.
good.
Exactly.
That doesn't count.
Part of the horror of being thrown out a window is being thrown out a
That's
window.
why it's
That's
just
weak,
happened
Prague.
at
It's
defenestration.
weak.
Right.
Sometimes
Yeah.
the name Third
No, we're not
Defenestration
counting
of
those.
Prague is used, although it has no standard meaning. For example, it has been used to describe the death of John Masaryk, I believe, who was found below the
Jan.
bathroom window of the building of the Czechoslovak Ministry of Foreign Affairs on March 10th, 1948.
Whoa.
That's pretty
48.
recent.
That's what I want to hear. I want to hear about more modern defenestrations.
Last
the-
Thursday,
the official
Right.
Gary was removed through.
Shawn Michaels throwing Marty Jannetty through the window of the barbershop.
That should happen. Oh, that did happen.
That did happen.
That did actually
Sorry,
happen.
more professional wrestling.
Yeah. Poor Marty.
Poor guy. The official report listed that death as a suicide.
Marty.
So-
Well, Jake, thank you
No.
so much for
No.
thank you so much for presenting these defenestrations.
Yeah.
You have widened the vocabulary of both Jeff and Ron.
Yeah.
You've made me want to take Ron upstairs and throw him off the deck or out of a window.
you- I think
Jake
you
didn't
already
make
won
you
it.
want to do that.
I'm not saying do it, but I'm saying get ready for a war.
Yeah.
If it is
You need me until
Holy
next
righteous
Sunday.
war.
Yeah,
You got a couple days to recover.
Ron.
Yeah.
just put Landon in.
That's very sweet.
And thank you,
Put Landon in
dear
his war box.
sweet deckheads, for being on this journey with us.
Absolutely. All 50
episodes.
episodes.
And hopefully in another 50 episodes we'll have a second look back and look at the next 50.
We'll see what other
Proud
dumb
and
shit we did
Definitely said some stupid
from
things.
today on.
We would love to hear from you. There's a
Some dumb
second
shit.
weekend
Oh, I
of
get
Annie
it.
performances coming up, Jeff.
Yep, there's coming Thursday the 14th, Friday the 15th, both at 7 o'clock. Saturday the 16th at 3 and 7, and Sunday the 17th at 3.
Let me tell you, Annie's a popular show anyway, but goddamn, these audiences have really gone
really
nuts over this
enjoyed it.
show. They've been-
Opening night was
loved
almost
it.
sold out. Last
Yeah.
night was almost sold out
Yeah,
too.
and I mean, they're just to their feet, just jumping to their feet,
Oh,
loving
yeah.
the show.
Last night's audience was amazing.
Oh, they were
just-
fantastic.
Almost a perfect audience,
Yeah,
for sure.
honestly, they were great.
I've
got-
been
I've got
laughing
a
up
thing
at my
about-
curtain speech, but they enjoyed the show quite a bit.
I laughed at your curtain speech.
We all laugh at your curtain
Yeah.
speech.
from the dressing room. From our ivory tower, we look down and listen to your curtain.
Make sure there's no
speech.
windows in that tower.
No, hell no, not anymore.
You'll be thrown from them.
I'll be
So don't
breaking
miss
those
out
up today.
on seeing Annie.
No, great
You'll
show,
hear
great
more from
cast,
us in
great
the future
crew.
about some
Jeff
other
has
things
done a
we're
great
getting
job. Jake is in it, playing Roosevelt,
Yep.
among others.
As you can
Crooning.
tell.
Roosevelt et al. Yes.
Et al.
Et al. He plays
If there
several
are
characters.
any subjects you'd like us to discuss, now you can check defenestration of Prague off your list.
Right.
You can check it.
Yeah.
See, I'm sure that's what Jared was going for.
Don't worry about it.
But I'm going to claim it.
Sure.
We would just love your feedback, your thoughts, and until next time, stay wild.
Stay wild.
Stay wild.
And bite the edge.
We can dance if we want to. We can leave your friends behind. Because your friends don't dance. And if they don't dance, well, they're no friends of mine. We can go where we want to. A place where they will never find. We can act like we come from out of this world and you're not far behind. You can dance.